For almost 50 years, Star Trek's become a global phenomenon. I wanted to find out more about Star Trek. What made people so loyal to the brand? So dedicated? There have been 5 captains: Kirk, Picard, Sisko, Janeway and Archer, and for the first time in Europe, all 5 captains were going to be together. I had only one choice. I had to go to Destination Star Trek in London. At the media briefing, we got close to William Shatner, who played Captain Kirk, and Avery Brooks, who played Captain Sisko. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk to them. I did, however, manage to worm my way onto the bridge, and I even sat in the captain's chair. Well, it was probably a fake chair because I couldn't get the photons and phasers to work. The door might have been fake as well, because no matter what, I couldn't get it to open for me. Now, you just had a photo shoot in the captain's chair. I've got to say, you do look very, very Star Trek-y. You got the right look for it. How did it feel?
Wonderful. I mean, it's one of the first times that they have such a suit. I had one in the TNG, the Next Generation bridge, a few years ago. This is great. This is like a dream come true for me.
That's amazing. I love that.
Okay.
Does it stick on? Can I?
It's double-sided sticky tape. Yeah.
Brilliant,
It's marvelous
isn't it?
stuff.
What's on the other side? Oh, I like that. Can you see that? That's superb.
Okay.
What are you dressed as? Because I don't understand Star Trek. You need to explain.
Oh, right. Well, this is the original series movies.
Yeah.
So the original cast movies.
So this is
uniform.
like 1979, 81 vintage, something like that, is it?
Yeah, the sort of not motion picture, Rothacon up till Star Trek 6.
This is a tricorder that was used in the original series, so it was a science officer, the instrument to test geological or what's going on, or sometimes they talked into it. And it has little drawers that open up and little gadgets inside.
That just looks so cool.
So, it's all about the toys.
Is this an original prop or is it a repro?
This is from Diamond Select. It was made in the 1970s.
I'm hoping to get this signed by a few. Now that is an antique.
That is an original BBC
original
Star Trek.
BBC
Shoot.
Star Trek.
God, I remember those. How long did it take you to put that on?
1.5 hours.
1.5 hours.
Yeah.
What is it? Does it come off easily or?
No, not at all. Look, give me a hand. It doesn't smudge at all.
Oh wow!
It's just water-based.
I've just seen you getting friendly with the Klingons. That's very unusual practice, isn't it?
It is. It's all part of the Federation alliance with the Klingons. It's a treaty we signed with them recently.
You know, I almost believe you. You didn't need to use your phaser on them either.
One-armed combat, that's what we've trained in.
You probably only have one arm if you fight those two.
That's true.
What attracts girls to Star Trek?
Well, I have a science background, so I've always loved it, and I love sci-fi has always been a big part of my life. So this is no different to me.
Is it a lifestyle thing for you two?
No.
It's just a bit of fun. I mean,
yeah.
It was actually a surprise present. She's more of a Trekkie than me. But yeah, it's just a little holiday from reality, isn't it? You know, a couple of days.
Who's your favourite captain?
Picard.
Kirk.
Why?
Kirk is so sexy, and he's old, and he's also sexy.
Old sexy?
Yes, and
Sexy grandpa.
you know. And in the end of every episode, he take off his shirt, and that's why we love him.
No, I'll bear that in mind. That's a really useful tip. Thank you. How long does it take to do your ears?
Well, it took about an hour and a half today. and since this is the first time I've done it in a long time, I can't say what the average is.
It's a wonderful story. It's always about the story. It's never about the special effects and the explosions and the bug-eyed monsters. The show assumes that I'm smart enough to understand it. And you just have to respect that, and you fall in love with something like that. I mean, I'm not the kind of person that has like Star Trek sheets and Captain Kirk underwear and stuff, but
Just a uniform.
Just a uniform, yes. And we haven't been to one since we were boys together, and this was just a very special trip. It's our midlife crisis on planet Zebulon, I guess.
One of the highlights of the convention was a Klingon wedding.
to do something unique, special. So, and we like Star Trek, so why not? My father liked it. He taped it on VHS and stuff. So I watched it a lot. So then I met her 4 years ago. She was not so fond of it, so I made her watch.
You got a Star Trek tattoo on the side of your neck. Is that real?
It's a real one, yes. Me and my girlfriend, who's getting a picture with Brent Spiner. We've got matching tattoos, yeah.
Nupaka push pa Nupaka push pa. That's it. And that's the most important thing a Klingon needs to know when they come to a new place.
What does it mean?
It means, where is the toilet?
What are you dressed as?
I'm an Andorian.
In Andorian?
I am indeed.
Has it taken long to put on?
About an hour.
Give us a twirl, let's have a look. That's pretty neat, that's almost sprayed on, isn't it? Are you a lifelong Trekkie fan?
I am a Trekkie, yes.
What started you off?
60 series, the original.
Yep.
And then all of it, really, up to Enterprise.
For some reason, this couple wanted me to take their picture by a big orange door. Right, I've got the $1 million question now. How was it for you?
It was quite good, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, it does seem like quite an empty thing, but it's like I say, it's such an iconic piece of the Enterprise and the show. It's great to see something like that and have a picture taken with it.
Excuse me, have you just had your autograph done with Patrick Stewart?
Your photos done,
yes, we have.
Right, tell me what it was like.
It was fantastic, really.
It was excellent.
It really was, yeah.
He was really polite, really engaging, only got limited time, but he was still, speaking to everyone on a personal level. It was fantastic.
It was an absolute pleasure.
How long did you have to queue? What did it cost?
It took about 20 minutes.
10, 15 minutes, I think. What was it? £30 a ticket?
£30 a ticket, yes.
Wow, that's an expensive signature. Let's have a look at the pictures.
Well worth.
Oh, that's pretty good. He does definitely look still Trekkie, doesn't he?
He does, very much.
He does.
He's gone for the jacket.
It's the jacket, yeah.
Is he your favourite captain of all
I
time?
think so.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Right, which Star Trek character is this? Because I don't know kilts in Star Trek.
Oh, it's Scotty.
Huh?
Scotty.
Scotty.
Yeah.
What got you into Star Trek?
Well, I was about 9 when Next Generation came out.
Yeah.
And I've always enjoyed science fiction, fantasy, but the stories they've written are that addictive to watch.
Yeah.
And you watch one, everyone's different, but it's like a positive future kind of thing. You look forward.
Guys, I need some advice. I'm thinking about going to the party this evening, and I don't know what costume to get. Can you sort of suggest something, bearing in mind what I look like, my height and everything? Anyone? Offers?
Ferengi. Yeah.
A Ferengi?
Ferengi.
I've got little ears. I'm going to need huge ears to be a Ferengi. I don't know. I don't know. That might work for me. Q, you were the most... Sorry, John.
You know what?
Go on.
Stop for a second.
Clearly, John wasn't very happy with the fact that I was fairly unprepared and I didn't know much about him and I didn't know much about the character. He wasn't prepared to talk anymore until I'd gone and done some more homework. Yeah. John, you told me to go out and find out about Q before I'd come back and talk to you.
Yes.
I've got my very
really
good friend.
Found somebody who knows. Yeah.
I found someone who knows all about Q.
Probably more than I know.
Well, originally you started off as a fairly authoritative, scary character, but a very, very, very light villain, and that sort of became softer as the series progressed, didn't it?
I brought in a fair amount of humor into it. Right.
Was that your own influence?
Yes. I mean, and then they began writing for it.
How lenient were the sort of producers in allowing that, or the directors rather?
Well, I had to say the same words, but you can say you can give a spin to any line, so it doesn't come quite, it doesn't come out quite the same way as it might have been written.
Is it a role that you enjoyed playing?
Oh yeah, very much. Yeah.
And who was your favourite actor within Star Trek?
I think that Patrick and I probably had the best scenes together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Star Trek was a show that triumphed in its humanity and gave us a sense of we could have a future where people of all races, religions, cultures could all get together.
Very positive message. What was it like working with Gene Roddenberry?
It was fine. I didn't work with him that often. He didn't come down to the set that regularly. But he's a very congenial man, and it was fun to be around. So it was a very pleasant experience.
What was the atmosphere like when you were recording those series back in the 60s on set?
We had a good atmosphere. There were a lot of laughs, you know. Bill was usually the progenitor of the laughs, and we sort of followed his lead.
Did you socialise together as well as act together? Did the job take over your life?
Well, the answer to those questions are sort of contrary. We didn't socialize that much together.
Okay.
We see each other at parties, we see each other at conventions. On the other hand, it did take over my life. My life would, I don't know what it would have been, but it certainly would have been different than it is now. I'm fairly sure that I wouldn't have been an actor at this juncture had it not for Star Trek. You know, it's kept me going in this direction for a long time. So it's had an extraordinary significance in my life.
And as I turned a corner, I found some autograph booths. We could see Patrick in the distance, but we weren't allowed to approach any closer with the cameras. What does it say?
Well, not much. She just gave us her autograph, and we got it personalized, and a lot of the captains don't do that, so that's pretty special.
What's she like then?
Super nice. Busy, obviously, but very nice.
How do you feel? Has this changed your life?
No, not at all, but I'm very satisfied. I'm very happy with it. It's a nice one for the collection.
Excellent. You just spent the last 25 minutes queuing to see the top of Patrick Stewart's head. What was the draw?
Well, you don't come all the way to something like this and not take the opportunity to see anyone's head from this distance. So yeah, even though I got a really bad photograph, unlike him, yeah, it was worthwhile. It was great standing here, and it was a bit of a laugh, and you got to see him from 5 feet away. So that's a damn sight better than the people that have been queuing for 2 hours to watch him on the stage.
You got a picture of Patrick's. You got the picture of the face as well as the head.
Yep, we've got the whole lot.
Show us. Let's have a look.
Not a bad photo.
No, he looks very, 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 very dignified. How about you in your quest? Did you get anything?
I was hoping for a wave, but a head look is all we really got. But
you got nothing. Right.
No.
I think the main thing is that everybody likes what Star Trek stands for. Everybody getting along, no famine in the world. Everybody working towards the greater good of mankind instead of wars and famines and things like that. It is the vision of what could probably be described as a perfect future.
You're like a moving autograph. You got Brent's autograph on it. This is incredible.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Did you have to take it off when they signed it, or did you?
Well, I tried to be a bit cheeky because I know he doesn't sign tops, and he did lean over and say, "I don't sign tops, but I'll sign yours," and he did.
And everyone's followed suit. So was he the first one?
Yeah, he was the first one.
Absolutely excellent. Are there any on the back?
No, it's just the front.
So you've got room for improvement there. You're going to get a few more.
I've got a couple of days. Well, I've got today, the rest of today and tomorrow to try and get the rest.
How many you got so far?
I'm going to try. 6, I think I have here, and I've got a couple of captains on here. So
let's have a look at
my
those.
mission is to get this complete.
Wow. Are you Bill Shatner?
I'm afraid not. I wish I was. I wish I had his money.
You look a bit like him. There's a passing resemblance.
Well, yeah, I think from Series 1, I think. If I let it go out, it'll go Series 2, Series 3. But yeah.
What are you doing with a Tribble then?
They're lovely. They're wonderful. Everyone loves Tribbles.
You're going to the the parade this evening, presumably?
Probably, yeah.
What do you think I should go as?
You should go as Ferengi.
Is it hot in there?
Oh, it's boiling.
Mike, how long have you had that on? You will lose a few pounds. Are you going this evening?
Yes.
I'm going to go. What do you think I should go as?
Gosh, Captain Kirk, then I can kill you.
You reckon Captain Kirk? I'll make a good Captain Kirk.
I could bite you then.
Gosh, that's you need a bra with those. You played Captain Pike. Can you tell me a bit more about the character?
Well, Captain Pike was the first captain that's been noted in Star Trek over these 46 years. This is the ship that, let's say, Captain Kirk inherited from me, which was the Enterprise. So Captain Kirk and Captain Pike never really knew each other until Captain Pike had a very infamous accident where he was helping these young men at an academy for, it was a training academy, and one of the baffle plates on one of the ships blew off by accident, and they were severely burned, a lot of them, and that's when he became catatonic. He couldn't talk, they made him like the $6 million man. They made him back into a normal human being, but there was no communication verbally. All the thought waves were put into one light on top of the wheelchair, which he sat in. And every time he wanted to signal something, he would just say, they would give him yes and no questions, see? Now watch. When you get to a certain point, see, that's no. Okay, so yes was one light, and no was two lights. So that's how they communicated with him. And my character, that character that I played, it was an immense amount of hope and prayers that I would pull it off, mainly because I was supposed to be another actor who was not available for the role. So it was a 5-hour makeup job every day. And in doing that, the makeup, they designed other makeups from my makeup because it took them almost a week to start doing what they call prosthetics. And they, in turn, used latex, which they do not use today. So in that 5 hours for 8 days, they ended up using so many other costume-like makeup for other actors due to this one character.
So your character, just playing Pike itself, was quite evolutionary in terms of developing a lot of the other looks that they had.
That's correct.
What's this then? Hey, does anybody have a camera?
The highlight of Destination Star Trek was the fact that all 5 Star Trek captains were going to be together for a photo call for the first time in Europe. One by one, the captains lined up. Captain Kirk, Captain Janeway, Captain Sisko, and Captain Archer. Nervously, we waited for Captain Picard to arrive. The cameras flashed. We all waited. Where was Captain Picard?
He's not coming.
Come on, Patrick.
Oh. You're kidding. Come, please. Patrick's not coming.
Don't know.
All right, guys, in the middle, please, all together. Sorry, mate.
Of course, if you really want to find out about Star Trek, you have to speak to an expert. Star Trek experts are called Trekologists, and one such Trekologist is Rawls Davis.
Essentially, when it comes down to it, Star Trek is bigger than just the original series or the Next Generation or any of the other incarnations. It's the message that it promotes, the idea that it promotes. And with Star Trek, that is a positive future. That is a bright step forward for the future of the human race.
Sure, I mean, I'm thinking back to when I was a kid and I looked at the first series. You had it set against a backdrop of the Cold War with Russia, the Vietnamese War, and at the same point, the one positive thing that was going on was originally the Mercury, the Gemini, the Apollo space programs and so on, and that was the hook I had. And of course, Star Trek came along and you saw different races mixing together. You had Japanese, Russians, Blacks, guys, the whole lot. Yeah, it was revolutionary.
I think science fiction's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? The world's first sci-fi convention took place in the 30s. I think it was 1933, I think, but I'm not entirely sure. And it's been around for a long time, but usually it involves flying saucers from Mars or some post-apocalyptic wasteland and humans killing each other, and we're basically making a mess of it.
Yeah.
Star Trek turns around and says, actually, you know what? We're children. Right now, we're children. We're going to grow up. We're going to be adults.
Sure.
And this is what is coming. And on that note, Star Trek is the only franchise, only series, film, call it what you want. They're the only ones that actually went out and said, don't worry, guys. We're going to get through this.
Do you see Gene Roddenberry, the creator, then as more of a moralist than a scriptwriter?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the thing... Nichelle Nichols picked up on it.
Yeah.
And she actually turned to Gene Roddenberry in the 60s and she said, you're telling morality plays.
Yeah.
His response was, shh, they haven't figured it out yet.
Against all odds, I found a 7th Star Trek captain. Tricia, you had the rare role of Star Trek captain.
I do indeed. The only woman captain of the USS Enterprise.
How did that make you feel?
Just terrific. You should have been there. When I sat in the captain's chair, it was like the whole world. They had these projections in front of me, and I'm sitting in the chair that has all the buttons on it, for pushing photon torpedoes and everything. It was like another world, and Star Trek constructed it for me. I fell right in.
Were those programs fun to shoot? I imagine they were very hard work, but I guess you might have had a laugh or two doing them too?
Oh, for sure. Most of the people all of the people that I worked with were lovely to be with, just as people, but when they became the characters, it was really exciting.
There's a picture of you outside as a Klingon as well, is that right?
That's right. Yep.
How did that come about then?
Well, I'm not sure how it came about. I was associated with the Star Trek group, and I think the placement, they often brought back people that they enjoyed working with, and we'd have to come back as different people. It was the history of Star Trek is very structured. And sometimes you can come back in the wrong time zone or something like that, so they're very careful about how they do things. But playing a totally different character, that's fair. So you can come in and do one thing or another on occasion. Which put on a rubber head.
And tell me, what was it like working with Bill Shatner and Leonard Nimoy in those days?
Well, very few people know that Leonard Nimoy and I had been on a show called The Hunted, the Rebel, actually. It was a Western.
So you had some history.
Oh, yes, and we also worked on Mission Impossible together.
Oh, right, what, the original series?
So Star Trek was not the first time we'd worked together. And most people don't know that. William Shatner was, as you might expect, the wonderful rascal that he was.
Yeah.
And causing me to laugh throughout the shoot, where the director had to come over and say, do I have to separate you two? And I said, Bill, please, this job's important to me. Don't get me fired. Don't make me laugh. But he has this irascible impulse to, cause a little bit of ruckus.
Time was nearing for the world record attempt, and I'd finally decided upon my costume. I was a starship captain, which unfortunately made me very easy prey for the Borg. I've been assimilated. You're not going to be in the Guinness Book of Records?
It's not going to make it though, is it? We're 1,040 is the record, and probably 30 turned up for the fancy dress parade.
Although I wasn't sure how many people we needed to get together to break the Guinness World Record, having spoken to my Borg friend, things weren't looking good. Well, these are my new best friends, because they're teaching me all about the culture of Star Trek, and I've been assimilated.
So you're a newbie.
Yes, I'm an absolute newbie.
You're more of an ensign. What rank have you got on your... You've got
He's
Captain
a captain.
Picks, and
Yeah.
he's an ensign, really.
He went straight to the top.
Listen, if you don't try, you don't get.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people flag on their CVs, don't they? So
Yeah, no one's sussed me yet.
I was a lieutenant commander, now I'm a captain.
Exactly,
I dropped out of school at 5, but no one knew.
That's right, I'm just serving coffee because I like doing this. The other thing I've noticed is this whole Star Trek thing, it's not just a series. I mean, when you get to the stage where you're producing sort of manuals and so on how to build a spaceship...
It's a virtual life, isn't it, really?
Yeah. It's that effort that goes into the background, and it's almost as if the series has sort of been put on pause and the audience have taken over developing it.
Absolutely, and that's what this kind of event's about, really, isn't it? They're kind of celebrating what they do with it, as opposed to watching it or experiencing it. They're seeing their stars, their heroes on stage to talk to and have photos with, but really it's about them expressing themselves and enjoying their fandom, which is really quite nice, I think, really. It's like football fans every weekend go and shout at some men on a field, they come here and dress up.
What's the latest word on how many people are going to take part in the Guinness attempt?
Well, as far as I know, everybody that I've spoken to thus far that has actually appeared in costume has said, yes, we're in costume because there's a record attempt.
Yeah.
That is the purpose of this. I don't actually know how many people will follow through, because having a record attempt at 6 o'clock in the evening, a lot of people are getting tired, a lot of people are... want to get out of this.
They're X+1 officially now.
That's fantastic. I'll be there doing my part. Are you doing your bit?
Going back to the original Gene Roddenberry concept in 1964, 65 or whatever.
A little earlier, but yeah, they started filming in 64.
Okay, is there any way that he would have foreseen the phenomenon, the global phenomenon it's now become?
No, and certainly within his lifetime it was a phenomenon. It set records for convention attendance, for box office, for a science fiction film. The Star Wars films obviously did, incredibly well, but George Lucas always sort of blamed Star Trek for getting him into it.
Sure.
But Gene, he was interesting. He said that Star Trek has not changed the world. That he didn't buy that for a second. That it certainly affected people's lives, changed people's ways of thinking, got people to go into medicine or science or whatever it was, engineering, who probably wouldn't have if it hadn't been for Star Trek. But he said all you have to do is look at the fact that there's still slavery in some areas of the planet, that children are not treated well everywhere on the planet, women are not equal everywhere on the planet. He said we have a long, long way to go.
Yeah.
But he believed that as a race, the human race, and still in our infancy, as he used to say, just one step beyond throwing rocks at the moon out of fear. He said that we are better now than we were in the past, and that hopefully we'll be better in the future, and that was always his vision.
So the message to take away is that underneath all of the nasty things that go on, there is an inner good, there's this prophetic, optimistic vision of the future.
And Star Trek brings people from all faiths, all political backgrounds together, and they can have a weekend event like this with people from all over the world who they would probably never cross paths with otherwise, because they all believe that vision.
And you're just crossing boundaries, you're stitching it all together.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's a good thought to take away with me.
All right.
Thank you. Despite my early misgivings and against all of my expectations, the hall continued to fill with people, one after the other in procession. What do you think our chances are?
I think our chances are quite good, but it's going to be quite close. So
do you know what we've got to beat?
1,000.
1,000.
Yeah, so I think we could do it.
Yeah.
Still people coming in, so fingers crossed.
Definitely.
These fingers.
Big hands. It's a big old queue, isn't it?
It was, but we're quite passionate and quite dedicated, so we're gonna hang around.
There only one in there, green guy.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Hello.
Hi.
You sound very, very muffled.
Well, I'm right here.
You're part of the number. That's an incredible costume. That's really good.
Thank you.
Can I ask, God, you're tall, why are you walking around with a suitcase? What's in the suitcase?
Out of character. I'm Mr. Hom. Mr. Hom is Luxana's manservant. He carries her luggage. Famously in the scene Manhunt, he was seen to pick it up and hand it to Captain Picard, who promptly fell over it because it was so heavy. Noted for his great strength, for example, if you step out, and I just hand it to you.
Yeah, there's a bit in there, isn't there?
There's some weight in there. But of course, being the height and size I am, it's just nothing to me.
To qualify for the world record attempt, scrutineering was quite strict. You couldn't just go in wearing a t-shirt or a pair of trousers. The costume had to be complete. If the costume wasn't complete, then you couldn't enter.
Once you're in, don't come out.
Yeah, basically.
Well, according to the Guinness books, you can't. You have to stay in. And then once we shut it off, 10 minutes, nobody can leave.
Really?
Nobody can come in, nobody can leave.
Need a pen? Who's got a pen?
74 short, 74.
Can we do a countdown so we can stop
We're going to shut it.
We're going to shut it.
Go in,
Okay,
shut it.
countdown now.
Starts going to go in or out for 10 minutes, okay?
Record breakers.
There's one more.
So congratulations, especially to Jason and everybody here, for setting another world record. Thank you.
The numbers we had to beat were 1,041, okay? And that was the main agenda. Now, we topped 1,041, and we just, after that point, we stopped counting. I'll be perfectly honest, we just grabbed and we threw them in. Now, we have all the papers, the numbers will be recounted, the numbers will be verified, but it reached a point where we just started throwing people in, because once you've beaten it, you've beaten it.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
You've beaten it. I think, counting up all the tallies, I think our final numbers would probably be somewhere between 1,070, 1,077, not quite 1,100, but certainly far enough in advance of the next group who's going to come and try and take this. I think it's probably going to sit with the UK for some time now.
As the evening drew to a close, I made my way home, but I paused to reflect upon what I'd actually learnt about Star Trek. Certainly, here were people who'd come together from different continents to celebrate a vision which had endured for 50 years and brought them together, perhaps echoing Gene Roddenberry's prophetic future, in which hope and innovation were celebrated. Certainly, for one thing, it brought out the child in me and the child in my companions. It's got to be a good thing. You're the best dressed person here. Who's your favourite captain?
That's what the top looks like. It is what the top looks like.
I wanted to know what the top looks like. Right, can I start this? 1, 2, 1, 2. What's the weather like up there? So you're going to the Guinness World Record attempt this evening?
Without a doubt.
So am I.
Are you?
Yeah, what do you think I should go as?
Ferengi.
I'd be worried about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty spooked, thank you.
Long live and prosper. We love Star Trek.